Hello, hello. Good morning, Dr. Gohar.
Good morning. Good morning. Sorry, it was some technical problems with my computer. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. And hello, everyone. Welcome to our Peace Education webinar series, and thank you very much for joining us. Before Dr. Gohar will start, I would like to briefly introduce the topic of today and myself. I'm Denise, and I work at GPAC as the Communications Advisor. And we've been doing our peace education webinars for quite a while now, and this particular webinar will focus about peace education in Armenia. So what is GPAC? Well, GPAC was founded in 2003 and is a member-led network of civil society organizations working on conflict prevention and peace building across the world. And our mission is really to promote a shift in how armed conflict is dealt with. So a shift from reacting to conflict to prevention of conflict. And we do this through working on different themes such as human security, gender, dialogue and mediation, but also peace education. And since 2006, GPAC has a working group has been working on peace education, and we have a peace education working group where we have members from all over the world, from Serbia, from Philippines, from Ukraine, from Kyrgyzstan, but also the United States and Armenia. And this working group is very, very unique. It brings together civil society, teachers, academia, representatives of Ministry of Education, or relevant government representatives. So we have, a very unique group. And we're very happy that our peace education experts are sharing their expertise, their experiences, their lessons learned through these peace education webinars. So like I said, today, Dr. Gohar Markosyan will be presenting on peace education in Armenia. She has many, many years of experience in this field in peace education. She's worked many years in Armenia in introducing peace education into schools, but she's also done research. She's also participated in different projects. She's also author of many publications and books. So I would like to give the floor to you, Dr. Gohar.
Okay, thank you very much, dear Denise. Thank you for introducing me. Now I would like to share my presentation, then start it, yeah?
Thank you. And questions will be, there'll be time at the end for questions. You can either ask them via chat, or you can raise your hand or ask them verbally as well. Thank you.
Just 1 minute, huh? Just 1 minute. I will share my presentation. Okay. Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar. I would like to start from the content of our work and to say a few words about the organization I present. Do you hear me well?
Yes, we hear you well.
Okay, yeah. Okay, as Dennis said, I'm presenting the Armenian organization. It's the Women for Development NGO, and our NGO is local-based women organization, which organized in 1997. And its mission is to minimize the difference of social economic conditions between cities and remote communities in Armenia, and also promote peace in the region. So we not only working in the sphere of peace education, but also the rural development in Armenia and regional peace building. Armenia faced a lot of difficulties. It was the collapse of Soviet Union, the Karabakh conflict, social-economic difficulties in Armenia, disasters, earthquake, and poverty, unemployment, and the high level of migration, and etc. And regarding my main topic of peace and conflict, our experience of our organization in the field of peace and conflict resolution education, I would like to start my presentation from the questions and topics which I would like to cover in my presentation. It's the first of all, why we came up with the idea to implement peace and conflict resolution education, when and how this project launched, what kind of approaches we have, what kind of activities we organized, principles of conflict resolution, main skills and capacities, strategy, and process of institutionalization, some difficulties and challenges I would like to speak mainly about in the end of my presentation, about the difficulties and challenges, and etc. Let me to start from step by step my presentation. So why we came up with this idea to implement this project, Peace and Conflict Resolution Education Project. As I mentioned about the context of our country was very difficult. We started in very difficult when our country was in very difficult condition. As I mentioned, poverty, unemployment, Karabakh conflict, and etc. Why I mentioned this issue? Because these issues had their immediate, all these issues in society had their immediate impact on in general in society, but also on school and school environment as a part of this society. We understand that kid from poor, unemployed family brings his or her inner family conflict into school with him or her. And so usually the conflict situation arises in student teachers, student parents, or lot of conflicts, and students usually can't be resolved this conflict themselves. And so we decided that the peace and conflict management education is the best tool to teach our kids these main skills for conflict management, because we are thinking that as an adult, as a teacher, as a parent, it's not possible to be with our kids everywhere, but it's very important to teach them these skills which help them to resolve their daily conflicts themselves peacefully. Next question about when and how the peace education launched. We started in 2002 with the aim to form culture of peace and conflict resolution ideas among teachers and school children. And main goal of our project was to decrease the violation cases in the school and to create the peaceful environment in our schools. It's some photos of our practical activities in pilot school, and what the main approach of our education. It's really very important, because we think that each role player in the process of education, the student, teacher, head of administration, parents, should have similar knowledge and skills on conflict management and conflict resolution. Important to mention that none of these actors who involved in the educational system could not none of them could reserve the right to resolve conflicts through application of power, physical or psychological violence, or excessive authority, and etc. Because it's not a secret that that teachers allowed themselves to use their psychological application, or parents, or etc. And our education pointed on each role players of educational system, and we think that only in this case we will able to create environment, peaceful environment in our schools, and decrease the number of conflicts between students, teachers, parents, and etc. So what the main ideology? We think that there are no any ready solutions for possible conflicts. It is rather to promote the development of students' creative and independent thinking in order to find solutions for various conflicts and to manage conflicts, avoiding violation. So the main principles which based in the conflict resolution education, it's the following. The conflicts are an inseparable part of our life. Conflicts are typical for all aspects of life, because the kids and the other target groups of this project will know about it. That it's typical, and it will exist in their life. The question that they will have the skills to resolve this conflict peacefully. And I like this principle that and will understand that conflicts have not only negative but also positive impact. While, because when someone involved in the conflict, he or she will obtain new knowledge and skills, and enrich his or her personal experience. Because sometimes when we start to speak about the conflicts, people think that it's has only negative aspect, but we would like to push people that they have to understand that conflict can have also the positive impact on their life. And violation in schools are possible to prevent. It's also a possible thing when all people have the similar knowledge and skills for resolving the conflicts. Here in my presentation, I put some what kind of skills we teach, we share with our kids, school children, and our teachers. Is the analyzing conflicts and discovering their roots, developing practical skills for conflict resolution, and communication skills, which very important when we are speaking about conflict resolution skills, developing practical skills, developing ability to listen. These skills also very important when we are thinking, where we are teaching about conflict resolution skills. This communication skills and ability of listen for me is the main skills for resolving conflicts. And here you can see the main strategy of our peace education program. So first of all, we start from developing the first peace education training course for teachers, for students, and then launching this peace education pilot project in pilot schools, in separate schools. Then very important strategy for us is the evaluation, the impact of peace education at schools, and integrating parents in service, pre-service teachers in learning process, cooperating with National Institute of Education, Ministry of Education of Armenia, and finally going to the institutionalization of peace education, because as a non-governmental organization, we can do all these steps in a program level. But if we miss this part of institutionalization, this discipline, it can stop working, stop living, because as a local organization, non-governmental organization, we cannot do always this project. So now as I mentioned, we started this peace education, developed this peace education training course in 2002, and we start to develop the training course based on the international experience, skills, and etc. Because for us, when we started in 2002, it was the main issue to learn, to understand what the peace education, what kind of experience existing in different countries, what kind of outcome different people have, and etc. So we started from our education, from the education of our team members. We participated in lots of trainings, courses, and etc. But here I mentioned two main training courses from which we started. Our team started is the Contact, Peace Building and Conflict Transformation International School in USA. It was in 2002, and we participated in this training, in this course, and Human Rights and Peace Education in Europe teacher training course. It's the two of them became a basic thing for developing our training course and our approach, and help us to understand what's mean peace and conflict resolution education in different countries. So what kind of topics we include in our training course? It's the conflict management, our first education, first handbook divided in two parts. It's the conflict management and peace lessons. In conflict management, we include the topics about conflicts and definition of conflict escalation, conflict management, possible outcomes of conflict, analysis and mapping of conflict, skills, and etc. And in second part, the peace lessons, peace and human rights, gender and conflict, health, personal hygiene and conflict, unemployment, social problems, and etc. And also we include also some topics about international organization, Red Cross, and etc. who are doing some peaceful peaceful things in the world. So it's the topics which we include in our first training course. I put here some posters, some materials, because we have this very colorful and very helpful tools for teachers for organizing this process and conflict resolution process. These posters help teachers and help school children to understand more deeply these topics. For example, here, levels of conflict escalation, and we use this heroes for teaching students. And here some levels. It's as you can see, it's here 5 levels of conflict escalation. First level, problem came up and it needs a solution. We assume and hope that we can resolve this problem and are ready to talk about it. It's the first level, and it's the usual for all conflicts. And second level, or here there is a disagreement between two sides and etc. And then some competition is going up and the level of escalation is going high and high. And open fight, next level is open fight, and last level is open so-called war with the goal of destroying the enemy and etc. It's just an example, and I put one of our posters also, and it's because I like it very much. It's the conflict peaceful resolution skills, and these colorful posters usually put in the walls in a classroom or in a school, and it's visible for parents, for teachers, and etc. And it help them to learn without usually without teacher or without someone, and it's help the people very well to understand what kind of skills they can use for resolving the conflicts. And it's the principles of conflict peaceful resolution: try to analyze the situation, try to understand, be able to listen, ask questions, and finally try to find the best solution. It was some posters which you can see. And this training, first of all, we start from one pilot school, and then in the first stage of our project, it was 2000 to 2004. We start from one pilot school, and then we plus 4 other schools, and finally, we have, in this period, we have 150 school children, 50 teachers, trained teachers, and also we use the peer-to-peer education methodology and involve more than 450 people in this process. Next stage, we started 2005, 2010, and in this period, educational materials, we revised the educational materials, and first our methodological handbook was designed and published finally. And we started to actively collaborate with National Institute of Education of Armenia. And it's the very important thing to collaborate in frame of this project, to collaborate with governmental structure, with Ministry of Education. And in Armenia, this National Institute of Education is responsible for curriculum development, for teachers training, for teachers capacity building, and etc. And so in 2005 and 2007, 2 memorandums of understanding were signed with the National Institute of Education in frames of implementation for support the implementation of peace education project, and for supporting our organization in the process of development methodological handbook for teachers. And in this stage, we We have 16 peace education centers in schools of our region, and more than 1,000 pupils, 550 in service and pre-service, in 150 pre-service teachers, parents, and etc. In this stage, we start to work not only with in-service teachers, as you see, but also with future teachers in the pedagogical university of our city. We start to collaborate with them and start to also include these peace and conflict management topics in the psychological faculty, in frame of psychological faculty students, and etc. So it's also some photos. You can see our students, and other, as I mentioned, when I speak about the strategy, I mentioned that evaluation is the one of the main part of our activities in frames of this project. So if we did this evaluation to understand the impact of peace and conflict resolution education on students after a few years after the studies. And the evaluation was conducted in 2009, and survey was held in separate schools after 8 years later. Later, after integrating peace education, because we understand that it's different one when you teach kids, teach school children in frame of their school, but it's different thing when they leave the school, when they go to different countries, when they go, in our case, go to the capital to continue their education, get married, go to army, and etc. We would like to understand, is these school children, these people who participated in our project, is they use these skills, or this education doesn't have any impact on their future life, and etc. It was very, very important for us to understand. This is a evaluation. It's an evaluation report you can download from our website. I put here the link of a website from where you can, if it's interesting for you, you can download this report and read it more deeply to understand what kind of evaluation we did. And we surveyed, as I mentioned, more than 450 students and teachers from 10 schools, and 120 parents surveyed. The results showed that due to the peace education course, students gained skills and values like respect to the history and culture of various nations, became self-confidence, and they have ability to resolve everyday conflicts in non-violent way, to protect their own rights and understand responsibilities. This last one is very, very important, because sometimes when people want to protect own rights but not ready to understand their responsibilities. And this research showed that according to the teachers and parents, school children who participated in the project have changed their attitude towards conflict resolution and became more tolerant in interpersonal relations. The number of conflict situations decreased. Project participants are doing their best to avoid conflict situations arising from has a very negative impact for people's life. Conflicts are mainly being resolved peacefully, and also in this part the school children also trying to propose their own solutions, not only in a personal level but also serious political conflicts in the region. And a lot of things which the teachers, students, and parents mention in their survey. So it's the report which about which I mentioned, and the report which you can download from our website. And after this we understand where this result help us to understand that we have to continue this peace education and have to continue in all schools of Armenia and try to involve it, integrate it in educational system of Armenia. Next phase, we're starting from 2011, 2013, and it's more than 360 schools, 2,000 teachers, for more than 40,000 pupils, and etc. And as I mentioned, each phase, each stage of our project, we finalize with evaluation. After this stage also, in 2013, we evaluate the project progress. We analyze and compare the results of pre and post tests conducted among more than 4,000 school children from 70 schools of Armenia. And the result of this research shows that the violent outcome decreased by 72%, and cases of verbal violence decreased by 67%. And this okay, and also this part, also the teachers who involved in this process, in this education process, they mentioned that the class had hours because we push teacher and we suggest teacher and heads of school and etc. to put this topic in a class at hours. These class at hours, after these peace education classes, became the most awaiting, as teachers mentioned, most awaiting for pupils. Conflict resolution topics initiated especially high interest in frame of so-called the people with bad behavior, and pupils who usually did not participate any discussion, any event, and etc. They start to be more active and did make their comments, recommendations, and etc. Course help children to develop their analytical thinking, and also have their good impact on pupils' academic progress. And apologizing became more easier in frame of children, and and etc. and etc. That they can resolve everyday conflicts between students, between teachers, between their friends, and etc. And next stage was in 2014, 2016. In this period, we managed to involve more than 60% of Armenian schools. It's 850 schools in. By the end of 2016, we can manage to cover all these schools. What about the, as I mentioned, our last strategy was about the institutionalization, and what we did in this field is the more important thing for us. In this field, in September 2015, we sent we applied to National Institute of Education and asked them, suggest them to send an official letter to all schools in Armenia. And they sent this letter, and the letter highlighted the importance of conflict management education and suggested schools to include those topics in class head hours. Particularly in the letter, the National Institute of Education mentioned that one of the main functions of the class heads is to teach their pupils skills of collaboration, communication, non-conflict resolution, conflict management, and etc. They mentioned that conflict management education in schools methodological handbook designed for teachers is a practical and very useful tool for teaching these skills during their classes. And they put this National Institute of Education put this handbook in their website, and all teachers of Armenia can develop and use it in their practical work. It was the very important, this institutionalization part was the very important part of our project. Now I would like to conclude what kind of challenges we faced during the implementation. I mentioned about it in the beginning, but I would like to point you in these topics. That, as I mentioned, the peace education was the completely new area for Armenia, and there were any educational handbooks or training materials to use for designing the lessons. So we need to go to different training courses, studying international experience, and finally localizing this in Armenian route, because the international experience can be different for us. Our conflict and our context, the context of our country, our schools and culture and mentality and etc. is different than other countries. It was some kind of challenge, but we can resolve this challenge and finally form the Armenian version of peace and conflict resolution education. And another challenge was to have the permission of the Ministry of Education to implement the project in schools, because all of you understand, for local non-governmental organization, it's very difficult to gain this permission from ministry for organizing such kind of trainings and etc. It was necessary to get special permission from Ministry of Education, and we can do it as a local organization. And how we resolve this challenge, we tried to earn trust at local level by engaging the local education department in this process. The local education department gave us permission to implement the project in a pilot school. After this completion of this pilot, we submitted a report to the outcomes of the project, the draft educational materials, video film to the local education department, and later to National Institute of Education and Ministry of Education of Armenia. Then we had held several meetings with the National Institute of Education and Ministry of Education. The discussion started with the focus of integrated peace education in one province. It was the province where our NGO located, and then later in all schools of Armenia. And finally, we are gained the permission from Ministry of Education, from National Institute of Education. And I would like to mention that the key point of our success, we are sure that it's the bottom to up and top to bottom to top and top to bottom approach. You see, we started from local education department, report them, be very open to sharing our experience, our outcomes, impact, and etc. And then finally, from bottom to top, we go from top to bottom, from this letter, from this suggestion from the National Institute of Education to include these topics in the educational system. Thank you very much for hearing me. But I would like to, in the end, I would like to mention that these challenges not. Currently, also we have certain challenges faced in Armenia, because Armenian. Currently, Armenian Ministry of Education changed Armenian educational system. We are in the process, and the National Institute of Education, with whom we start and work together, it's liquidated today. But this liquidation of this structure does not mean that peace and conflict management education will be left out of Armenia's education system, because it's the very serious thing for me personally, because I don't want to lost this all this process from which we go and have a lot of positive outcomes. That's why I had a meeting only a month ago. I had a meeting with the Deputy Minister of Education to clarify the strategy, strategy in conflict management education. During our meeting, Deputy Minister Arevik Anapiosyan mentioned that the new strategy of education in Armenia includes introduction of bullying and conflict management education in the new school education system. As for the liquidation of the National Institute, it will be replaced by educational foundations. And I'm sure that after the institutional amendments, the experience of our organization in conflict management education will find its place in the new system as well. Thank you very much. It's all which I would like to share with you. So if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer to your questions.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Gohar, for this very interesting presentation and for sharing with us your experiences. I would now also like to open the floor for questions. Does
Okay.
anybody have a question they would like to ask or a comment?
Hello, can you hear me? I'm Loretta Castro.
Hi, Loretta.
Yes, go
How are
hard.
you?
Yes, congratulations for your presentation. It's very impressive. You know, when you told us the evaluation results, I was
Okay.
really very impressed at what you have accomplished. No, my um, uh, question now is really about the age level of the students that you have trained. Maybe you mentioned it, but I might have missed it. Is it like what are the age levels? I'm just curious if it is from like from the very small kids to to much older students.
Okay, it's thank you, Loretta. Thank you for finding a time. I know how big differences in your country. I don't know what time in your country now, but thank you for joining my webinar. Is that students from secondary school from 5th to 9th grade? It's about 11 to 14 years old.
Okay. Uh-huh. So, do you have any plans of doing this also for older students, or you think that the best time is really for these age levels?
Uh, we suggest our handbook developed for teachers for doing this age, but usually our teachers, headmaster teachers, use it in an elementary school or in a high school too. They can reformulate the topics, or they can use these topics. For example, in a high school, usually the teacher organize discussion, not the discussion in some topics, and try to through this discussion teach students these main skills and knowledge. But for me, because I have a huge experience in this field, I know that this age from 5th grade to secondary school, it's the very good time for teaching them. Of course, we can reformulate or redesign this curriculum for other ages also.
Mhm. Thank you very much, Gohar. All the
You're
best
welcome.
work,
Sorry.
all the best. I'm wishing you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hope to see you in Ukraine.
It's my unfortunately I will not be able to go, but my colleague will be there, and she's also listening to you right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice to hear you.
Thank you, Loretta. Thank you, Gohar. There's another question from Gail, which I would like to read out. Gail says, first of all, congratulations for your comprehensive presentation, and wants to know if peace education is taught as a separate subject in class.
No, it's not a separate subject. It's a class head hours subject. which in class head hours in Armenian school, we have once a week. Each class had a headmaster teacher. Its class, it's mean 20-25 people who are studying together, and one teacher called a headmaster teacher who have 1 hour a week after formal classes, and these topics suggested to teach in these headmaster classes. It's not a separate subject.
Thank you, Gohar. And Gail has another question about the evaluation. How were you able to locate the students 8 years after peace education was conducted to them?
Sorry, could you
Yes,
repeat
of
it?
course.
Okay.
The question is about the evaluation. So how were you able to locate the students 8 years after peace education?
Okay, I understand. You are right, because these students, as I said, this student finish the school, go different countries, and etc. We managed to do it through calling them, through sending them by postmail, but by email. Because we have all these contacts of these students, we can manage to it.
Okay, thank you. I hope this answers your question, Gail. Then there's another question from Egide. The question is, to what extent are you taking that project? So is it only local? Is it very locally implemented, or is it wider than that?
Our model implemented in Armenia, and also now we have partners from region. We are doing the regional peace building project, and we create. It's the third year that our organization created a peace building platform, which involve 5 organizations, 2 from Armenia, 2 from Georgia, and 1 organization from Kyrgyzstan. And our main goal to share our best practice, not only in the peace education sphere, but also in the local peace building experience. And now our Georgian partner is this handbook is translated into Russian, in English, and in Georgian also. And our partners use the same methodology in some schools of Georgia. Now, lately they in Kutaisi, in one school of Kutaisi, our colleagues organized this peace education trainings, and they organize also the forum for Georgia, for teachers from 9 regions of Georgia, and they are doing lobbying for including lobbying in Georgian Ministry of Education and regional resource centers, educational resource centers, to include this peace education and conflict resolution topics in their educational curriculum also. So we share our experience with our colleagues from Poland, from other countries also.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
We can leave my email and my contacts, and if someone have any question or interesting with our experience, so they can apply me and ask their questions. As I know, this webinar will be available in the GPAC Facebook and site also. So maybe now I saw the participants in the webinar is a very small group people participated, or maybe someone can look and have any question. So we are open to share our experience and open to answer to all of these questions.
Yes, thank you, Gohar. I just shared your email address with everybody, and we'll definitely also share this webinar more widely and let you know if there are more questions. And there's one comment from Egide, and says that he's watching the webinar from Burundi in East Africa and finds it quite inspiring. And thanks you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Edith.
Okay, if there are no more questions, then thank you everyone for joining. And if you want more information or if you have any questions, you can contact Dr. Gohar. I just shared her email address with everybody, or please feel free to also reach out to us at GPAC and we can get you in touch. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for organizing this amazing, it was an amazing experience for me. It's my first webinar, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Gohar.
Bye.
I wish everybody a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.